Welcome to the second episode in a two-part Legendarium series about Vitellius, Rome's forgotten evil emperor. In part 2, we will talk about the fall of this mostly forgotten emperor. Upon the new ruler's arrival in Rome, things remained peaceful. At first, few executions and arrests followed Vitellius taking the imperial purple. He publicly sacrificed to Nero and declared the late emperor, still popular with the Roman people, to be a god. Vitellius even kept many of Otho's officials in government, even granting amnesty to Otho's brother Salvius Tatianus. He did dismiss the old Praetorian guards and then packed the imperial bodyguard with veterans of his one and only military campaign, but that shocked few. However, Vitellius's behavior after taking power did make the Romans cranky. His partying, entertaining, and betting on the races offended the public. He gorged himself upon 3 or 4 heavy meals a day, usually followed by a drinking party. For each eating and drinking session, he invited himself to a different house each time. Vitellius could only devour this much by frequent bouts of self-induced vomiting to clear room for more and more. Prior to taking the governorship of Germania, Vitellius built up an enormous debt because of his gambling habit. Now he simply informed the moneylenders, tax collectors, and dealers that they could either forget his debts or come down with a slight case of death. Worst of all, Vitellius, after taking the position of Pontifex Maximus, or High Priest of Rome, issued an order regarding worship on a day traditionally seen as unlucky, which did not win over pious Romans. At first, word came from the frontier legions that they would not oppose Vitellius. Yet around the middle of July, news arrived that the armies in the eastern provinces rejected him. They set up a rival emperor in Palestine named Titus Flavius Vespasianus, a battle-hardened general who enjoyed the soldiers' support. Vespasian planned to hold Egypt, while his colleague Mucianus, the governor of Syria, led an invasion to Italy. However, things moved much faster than either Vitellius or Vespasian had planned. Antoninus Primus, commander of the 6th Legion in Pannonia, declared himself for Vespasian and led the Danube legions in an assault on Italy. Caecina and Valens, the 2 generals who put the imperial purple on Vitellius's flabby shoulders, could no longer be counted on. Valens had become gravely ill, and Caecina tried to defect to the enemy. Though Vitellius's loyalists arrested Caecina, the emperor had no military man to lead his legions. As Primus made his way into Italy, his army and that of Vitellius met almost at the same spot where the deciding battle for the purple had been fought some 6 months earlier. The Second Battle of Cremona began on October 24th, 69 AD, and ended the next day in utter defeat for Vitellius. Vitellius made a feeble attempt to hold the Apennine mountain passes against Primus's advance. However, the army he sent simply went over to the enemy without a fight at Narnia on December 17th. Learning of this newest catastrophe, a supporter of Vespasian, the city prefect Flavius Sabinus, persuaded Vitellius to abdicate peacefully, which the emperor did to save his own life and those of his family members. However, when word spread that Sabinus removed the emperor, rioters rose in support of Vitellius and chased Sabinus to the Capitoline Hill. During the rioting, fire erupted in the city, and the ancient temple of Jupiter, the symbol of the Roman state, went up in gouts of flame. Flavius Sabinus then went before a furious Vitellius, who ordered him put to death. Only 2 days after these killings, on December 20th, the army of Primus fought its way into Rome. Completely alone, Vitellius tied a money belt around his waist and disguised himself in dirty clothes. He then hid in the doorkeeper's lodge, piling up furniture against the door to prevent anyone from entering. Of course, a pile of furniture could hardly thwart the soldiers of the Danube legions. With his last words, Vitellius cried, "Yet I was once your emperor!" No one cared. The mob stripped him naked, marched him through the streets amid whooping and cheering, and then beat him to death. Rebel soldiers threw his body into the Tiber River. However, the crowd kept his head as a souvenir and paraded it around Rome, while the late emperor's widow attended to the burial of whatever she could scrape together. In this way, on December 20th, 69 AD, Aulus Vitellius finally did Rome a good service and died at the age of 56 years, having ruled for only 8 months. On the other hand, Vespasian would rule for 10 years and be remembered as the builder of the Colosseum. That wraps things up for this episode of the Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.